We've spent a lot of time measuring, over 1,500 brands in India itself. So where I'd like to start is by getting your thoughts on what the top 3 brands in India are. So just throw out some names, please. What would be in the list of the top 3 brands in India? I heard Tata. What else? Reliance. Anything else? Narendra Modi. That's probably a good one. Infosys. Let me give you the 3rd biggest brand. Right? Now for our foreign guests that don't recognize him, this is Sachin Tendulkar, perhaps one of the greatest to ever wield the willow in the game of cricket. So number 2, and you'll see a theme emerging here. Dhoni, correct? And he can whack the leather of that cricket ball like no one else. Number 1, I think I heard it. The big B, right? Now this is an incredible brand story, right? When I remember being in class 7, class 8, and just bunking class repeatedly to go to see Amitabh Bachchan movies. Now, I do see a lot of students in the audience, so this is not my counsel to you. Look where I ended up, right? But it's been many years since then. I'm old and gray, so is he. But he still sits right at the top of that brand pyramid. It's actually no surprise, and I don't know why we're missing a few words there, but celebrity endorsements are a big part of Indian business. You have Katrina Kaif back there with the Johnson piece. More so than in any other countries, you'll find cricket players and Bollywood celebrities endorsing products and services. Gaurav already covered all of this. The only point I wanted to add is, my background is not that of a traditional marketer. I started out in professional services on Wall Street, strategy consulting work, I owned P&Ls. So to me, the brand is the business and the business is the brand. So I think of it very holistically. There's much more than just advertising or communications that goes into a brand. And for the folks at the back, for the younger ones who sort of still developing an idea of what a brand is, think of it as a very holistic, very complete concept rather than just what you see on an advertising tagline. So our story begins. We talked a little bit about sort of the brain processing all the information. So now we have a methodology for doing that, and I'll drag you through 2 or 3 slides to explain that methodology and follow it up with some examples, right? So we've spent a lot of time figuring out what are the key attributes of a brand that actually drive value. So we started doing this in Stanford. And we work with a lot of academics in Columbia, Stanford, Dartmouth, etc. And we've been continually refining this process. So for those of you who've studied chemistry, this is like the periodic table of attributes, right? And you get everything from arrogant, down to earth, high quality, traditional, worth more, etc. Now, in all fairness, I have to say that not for every category are all these attributes relevant. So, the one that always comes up is sensuous. So when we do, Victoria's Secret, when we do Armani, even when we do Viagra, we have sensuous in there. But when we're doing banks and insurance companies, we typically don't. So we tweak the attribute set a little bit to reflect the appropriate category. But these are the basics of measurement. Remember I was telling you about how we go out and do all these studies all over the world? This is what we measure for a brand. So now we start with these building blocks, right? And we aggregate one level up from these building blocks. And we get to 4 pillars. So these 4 pillars constitute brand equity. Let me go through each of them, right? First one, energized differentiation. This is a fairly simple concept. In what way is your brand unique, innovative, distinctive? Does it set itself apart, right? Typically, energized differentiation will drive price premium and margins. Number 2, relevance. Are you in the consideration set of the consumer? So if my brand is a Brazilian steakhouse and you're vegetarian, I'm not in your consideration set. I'm not relevant for you. If I live in Kolkata, Air France, no matter how sexy I think it is not relevant because it doesn't fly out of that market. I need to go somewhere else. Pillar number 3, esteem. Do I like you as a brand? Do I love you? Do I hate you? Am I indifferent? How well regarded is that brand? And the number 4 is knowledge, which is familiarity, right? So the worth of a brand stands on these 4 pillars.